You never die, yet you've died countless times. Buddhist wisdom. Chapter 1. The big question we all avoid. Have you ever found yourself late at night, just thinking about what all of this is for? We spend our lives building things. We build careers. We build families. We build a home. We work so hard to create a legacy, something to leave behind, a story to be told after we're gone. Why do we do that? If we're really honest with ourselves, I think deep down, we're all driven by a very quiet, very human feeling. It's not just a fear of dying. It's a fear of being forgotten. A fear that our entire existence, everything we've ever felt, loved, and experienced, will just disappear, vanish into nothing, as if we were never here at all. Now, maybe some of you are thinking, I'm not afraid of death. I'm not afraid of being forgotten. That's silly. And if that's you, that's a very strong way to feel. So let's call it something else. Maybe it's not fear. Maybe it's a desire for meaning, a deep human need for our life to continue in some way, for our story to matter. Whatever we call it, fear or desire, it all revolves around one central character: me, my life, my story, my legacy. And for thousands of years, when humanity has faced this big question of me and what happens when it ends, we've really come up with two main answers, two familiar paths. Path number one is the path of faith. It's the belief that there's a part of us, a soul, a spirit, that is immortal. It doesn't die. When our body is gone, this part of us continues. It moves on to another place, another life, maybe to heaven. The idea is simple and comforting. The driver of the car is eternal, even when the car itself breaks down. Then there's path number two. This is the path of modern science and logic. It says that consciousness, our feeling of me, is just a product of the brain. When the brain stops working, the show is over. It's like a candle running out of wax. The flame simply goes out. Death is the final end. These two paths seem like complete opposites, right? One says we live forever, the other says we're gone for good. But if you look closely, they both start from the exact same place. They both stand on the same foundation. Both paths assume that there is a solid, real me to begin with. They both agree there is a driver in the car or a flame on the candle. The only disagreement is about what happens to it later. But what if there's a third way of looking at this? What if the Buddha's path wasn't about giving a new answer, but about challenging the very foundation of the question itself? This path begins with a very strange, almost paradoxical statement. You never die, yet you've died countless times. When you first hear that, it sounds like nonsense. A riddle, but it's not. It's an invitation to look deeper than we ever have before. It's a call to investigate that central character, me, and to ask a question we rarely dare to ask. Is the driver in the car even real? To solve this incredible paradox, we have to take it one step at a time. Let's start with the part that might feel a little easier to imagine. Let's explore the second half of that statement first. Why does it say that you have already died 1,000 times? Chapter 2. The truth about dying 1,000 times. To answer the question of why this teaching says you've died 1,000 times, we don't have to look for something mysterious or hidden. The evidence begins right now, inside your own body. scientists tell us something amazing. Every second, millions of your cells die and are replaced by new ones. Your skin, your organs, your bones, they are all constantly being rebuilt. In fact, after about 7 years, almost every atom in your body has been replaced. Think about that. The physical you from 7 years ago is gone. Completely. In a very real biological sense, that person has died. Your body isn't a solid statue. It's a river, always flowing, always changing. But the death of the body's cells is happening in slow motion compared to what's happening in your mind. This is where the idea of dying 1,000 times becomes literal. Ancient Buddhist psychology describes the mind as a stream of single moments, called kshanas in Sanskrit, which means an instant. They are incredibly fast. In the time it takes to snap your fingers, millions of these moments have already passed. In each tiny moment, a single mind moment is born. It experiences something, a sight, a sound, a thought, a feeling. And then it instantly dies, making way for the very next one. The continuous stream of consciousness that you feel right now is an illusion, like a movie. A movie is just a series of still pictures shown very fast. Your mind is the same. Each still picture is a mind moment that is born and dies. When we say you have died 1,000 times, it's not an exaggeration. Just in the time I've been speaking this sentence, countless versions of you have been born and have died. The you who started hearing this sentence is already gone. And this constant, moment-to-moment dying isn't just a microscopic event. It's the very engine that drives death on the grandest scale of all, the scale of lifetimes. Each time a life ends, a form disintegrates. That is a death. With countless lives lived in the cycle of rebirth, we have died countless times in many different forms, from human to animal to other realms of existence. Each of those deaths was the end of a particular body, a specific chapter, but the underlying stream of consciousness continued. This idea of a continuing stream is where our minds usually jump to a familiar word: reincarnation. We think of an eternal driver, a soul that finishes its journey in one car, gets out, and finds a new car to drive. The driver itself never changes. But that's not quite what the Buddha was pointing to. He used a different idea, a different word: rebirth. And the difference is everything. Imagine an old candle, its flame about to go out. Before it does, you take a new, unlit candle and you touch it to the old flame. A new flame springs to life. Now, is the new flame the same as the old flame? No, it's a brand new event, on a new candle. But does it exist without the old flame? No. It was caused by it. It was born from it. It carries the same quality of heat and light. That is rebirth. It's not a thing that moves from one life to another. It's a process that continues. A chain of cause and effect. And what is that heat, that energy that gets passed on from one life candle to the next? That energy is what's called karma. Karma isn't a cosmic system of reward and punishment, like some kind of space police. It's much more natural than that. Karma is simply the energy of our intentions. It's the momentum of our habits. The deep patterns we create with our thoughts, our words, and our actions, which propel the next moment and the next life into existence. You see, the process we call me, this combination of a changing body, and a constantly dying mind is truly dying over and over again. This flow, this chain of cause and effect, is continued by the energy of our karma. This explains quite clearly how you have died 1,000 times. But this makes the other part of the statement even more mysterious. If everything is just a process that's always ending, if there's no permanent driver, no solid soul being passed along, then how can it possibly be true that you never die? Chapter 3. The Secret to Never Dying. We now arrive at the most mysterious part of this whole idea. We've seen how we are constantly dying in every moment. How then can it possibly be true that you never die? On one level, the answer connects directly back to that passing flame, offering a sense of continuity. It means that the process itself, the stream of consciousness and karmic energy, doesn't just stop when the body fails. It continues. But the Buddha's path doesn't just stop there. It points to a second, far more radical truth, one that offers not just continuity, but ultimate freedom. To understand this deeper layer, we have to do that little investigation, a very personal one. I invite you to do it with me, right now. Just ask yourself a simple question. Where are you? Seriously. Try to find you. Are you inside your head? Are you your thoughts? Well, thoughts come and go, so that can't be it. Are you your body? If you lost an arm, you would still be you. So that's not quite it either. Are you your feelings? Feelings change every few minutes. The more you look for a solid, permanent you, a center, a core, a boss in charge, the more you realize you can't find it. It's like trying to grab a handful of water. This is what the Buddha discovered. He described a person not as a single thing, but as a combination of 5 flowing processes, all woven together. Imagine the experience you call me is like a great river. It seems like one powerful, unified thing. But if you look closer, you see it's actually made of 5 smaller streams flowing together. There's the stream of the physical body, constantly changing, flowing from moment to moment. Flowing with it is the stream of feeling, the endless current of pleasure, pain, and neutrality. Then comes the stream of perception, the non-stop activity of recognizing sights, sounds, and smells. And the powerful stream of reaction, your impulses, your habits, your intentions, always moving and shaping what comes next. Finally, there's the stream of simple awareness, the process of knowing that all the other streams are flowing. These 5 streams flow together so perfectly that they create the illusion of a single, solid river. But here's the secret. There is no separate river. There is only the flowing of the streams. And right about now, some of you, especially the logical thinkers, might be saying, "This is ridiculous. I never claimed to have some permanent, unchanging self. You're arguing against something I don't even believe in." It's a fair point. But think of it this way. Imagine a fish that has lived its entire life in the water. If you ask that fish, "What is water?" it wouldn't have an answer. It's so completely surrounded by water, so soaked in it, that it doesn't even notice it's there. We are like that fish. We are so soaked in the constant feeling of being a separate me that we don't notice it's our entire operating system. We don't have to say, "I have a self," because we act it out every second of every day. Every time you say, "I am hurt," or my opinion, or I am proud of myself, you are confirming the existence of that central character. Remember that deep feeling we talked about in the beginning. The fear of being forgotten. That is the voice of this self, afraid of being erased. And this brings us to the deepest, most liberating secret of never dying. It's because there was never a solid, permanent I, no single separate river, there to die in the first place. The you that you are afraid will die is an illusion. It's the temporary coming together of these 5 flowing streams. It's a beautiful, complex, ever-changing event. But it's not a solid thing. You can't kill a shadow. You can't destroy something that was never a solid entity to begin with. So you see, you never die is a truth with 2 layers. The first layer says the process continues. The second, deeper layer says the solid self you're afraid of losing was never really there. The first truth describes the game we are trapped in. This second, deeper truth shows us the way out. Chapter 4. Putting the pieces together. Once this understanding starts to sink in, a new, more subtle question often arises. Some people might say, okay, I can let go of my small self, my ego, but isn't there a higher self, a true self, a divine spark? This is a beautiful idea, found in many noble spiritual traditions. It speaks of connecting with something bigger. The path of the Buddha respects this, but it takes one more very radical step. It suggests that if you look deeply enough, even the idea of a higher self can become another subtle thing to cling to. It's like escaping from an iron cage, only to find yourself inside a golden one. It's beautiful, but it's still a cage. The ultimate freedom the Buddha pointed to is realizing there are no cages at all. This understanding doesn't mean you are nothing. It means you are everything. When you realize you are not a separate, limited I, you understand that you are not separate from the world. You are the world, expressing itself as you for a little while. This doesn't lead to emptiness. It leads to a profound sense of connection and compassion. And yet, even after accepting all of this, there's a voice inside that might still whisper, "But I feel it. I feel like a me. My joy, my pain, my memories, they are so vivid, so real. How can I possibly dismiss this direct experience that is happening right now?" This isn't a doubt to be pushed aside. This is the most important realization of all, because the goal of this path was never to deny your experience. Your experience is completely valid. The pain is real. The love is real. The feeling of being an I is a real feeling. The shift is not in denying the experience, but in changing your relationship to it. This is the exact point where intellectual understanding meets the path of practice. Think of your awareness as the sky, vast, open, and clear. And think of all your experiences, your thoughts, your feelings, and even that persistent sense of I, as clouds passing through the sky. The clouds are real. They can be stormy and dark, or light and fluffy. But you are not the clouds. You are the sky that allows the clouds to come and go without being harmed by them. The practice is learning to rest in your nature as the sky, rather than chasing, fighting, or identifying with every cloud that passes. You don't have to make the clouds disappear. You just have to learn to see them for what they are: temporary weather patterns in the vast, open space of who you truly are. And that brings us to the most practical question of all. If the goal is to learn to be the sky instead of the clouds, then how exactly do we begin? Chapter 5. Finding the Way Out. Die Before You Die. So, where does all of this deep understanding leave us in our actual lives? Knowing that we are not the clouds, but the sky, is a beautiful thought. But how do we actually live from that place? There is a powerful, mysterious phrase found in many spiritual traditions that acts as a practical guide. Die before you die. It sounds strange, doesn't it? But this isn't about a physical death. It's the direct instruction for how to embody the freedom we've been talking about. It is an invitation to let the false self, the ego, the worried narrator in our head, the cloud we mistake for our entire being, die voluntarily while we are still alive. Because the ultimate goal of this path is not just to understand the rules of the game of life and death. The goal is to step out of the game entirely. The purpose is not just to never die and live forever in this cycle. The purpose is to end the need to be reborn 1,000 times. It's to find a freedom that is beyond both birth and death. This state is called nirvana. It doesn't mean a place like heaven. It means to extinguish. It's the state of perfect peace that is revealed when the fires of greed, anger, and confusion, the storms of the ego, have been completely put out. It's the natural peace of the sky, revealed when the clouds have passed. So, how do we do it? How do we practice this dying before we die? This isn't about some grand dramatic event. It's about practicing small deaths every single day. The Buddha laid out a practical map for this, a kind of training program that flows naturally. It begins when we choose to live ethically and kindly, which stops us from creating more stormy clouds. This harmlessness brings a natural calm and clarity to the mind, creating the perfect space to practice concentration. In that stable space, we can watch the clouds of our thoughts and feelings pass by without getting swept away. And with a mind that is calm and stable, we can finally look deeply enough to develop wisdom, the direct seeing that these clouds are just temporary weather patterns, not me. This seeing is what cuts the root of our suffering. It all starts with a simple act of letting go. When someone criticizes you, and you feel that hot flash of anger, that urge to defend yourself, can you let that urge die for just a moment and simply watch the cloud of anger pass? When a strong craving arises, a desire for something you think will make you happy, can you let the need to immediately chase it die for a moment and just feel the cloud of craving itself? Every time you bring your attention back to your breath, you are letting the noisy, chattering I die for a second. And you are being reborn into the quiet, vast reality of the present moment. This is the path. It's not about becoming a better, shinier me. It's a gentle process of letting go, of subtraction. It's a series of these small, voluntary deaths of the ego. And from that space, from that letting go, something new can be born. A way of living that is not driven by fear. A way of being that is open, connected, and truly, deeply alive. That is the ultimate meaning behind this paradox. You learn to die before you die, so that you can finally, for the first time, begin to live.